By far the easiest way and also the recommended way to create observables is to use the operators defined on the iObservable of t interface. These are just like the operators defined on iEnumerable of t. You may find them in the system.reactive.link assembly in a namespace of the same name. These extensions are declared in a class named observable. We've already seen some of them in use. Range, for example, toObservable, which is an extension on iEnumerable of t, but defined in Rx. It converts an iEnumerable of t into an iObservable of t, but it is still an Rx operator. We've seen the timer operator in use, and also the interval operator. In this example, we'll take a second look at the timer operator. The operator has several overloads, one of which periodically produces a sequence of values starting from 0 after a specified period of time. You can specify the interval after which the first value must be produced separately. I'll use the timer operator to generate the first value after half a second, and then every subsequent value with a gap of half a second each. And I'll produce 3 such values. Since I want the values to start from 1 and not 0, I'll skip the first value and then take 3 to produce 3 values. Next, I'll use a little trick to create some time gap between the values of an enumerable and have them be popped back at an observer. For this, I'll use the interval operator along with the zip operator. Zip does with observables exactly what it does with enumerables, except that it takes observables and returns an observable of t result. The interval operator is a limited version of the timer operator in that it produces a sequence of values periodically, but with no option to specify a different interval for the first value to be produced. In this example, I have an iEnumerable of strings, which I want my observer to get values from, but I want that each value should be returned after half a second. I'll use the interval to create an interval observable, and I'll use the zip operator to operate on each element from the interval with each element from the enumerable that I converted into an observable. But as a selector, as a result selector, I'll select only the items of the enumerable. Running this will ensure that we get each item from the enumerable after the specified time period, which in this case is half a second. Using Rx operators from the client code is one of the easy and fun parts of Rx, as it involves query composition. In fact, all that we've been discussing so far was the more difficult part of Rx, because it involved construction of components. So, if you've been finding all of this an easy ride so far, congratulations! You're through with more of the difficult parts of Rx. The easy part is using operators. I encourage you to look up more operators and try them on your own.